Okay. How can you connect to the database using Java code? So this is the very important concept. If you go here, let me take up. So we have a JDBC concept. So JDBC is a standard API for Java to connect and execute your SQL queries. And this JDBC, so before the JDBC, we have a ODBC. So ODBC was, platform dependent. It was written by C programming language. C is a platform dependent. And, each platform you have to write a different code and all these things. So to avoid that, as Java, it's a platform independent, right? It doesn't depend on the platform. So people are preferring JDBC concept. So it's an API. API is basically, it connects, it interacts with the two different systems. So that's what then API means. That the connection so happens, basically this JDBC is going to act as a bridge between two layers. And then how you can connect, then on the connection, you can do statement, you can execute your SQL queries, then fetch it. After fetching, you can iterate through loop to iterate all the columns, rows in the table. Basically, in the table, so many rows will be there, right? That rows you can so iterate, and whatever the data you want, you can get which column data you want, you can fetch it with a different methods are there. So that's what this JDBC connection main purpose. And so API means, as I just now mentioned, it's an interface which act as a bridge between two layers. And there are different types of drivers are there. JDBC, ODBC bridge driver. Basically, what will happen is you need to load the driver between two different systems. So JDBC, ODBC driver, native API driver, network protocol driver, thin driver. So these are the four drivers. You can load any of the drivers. So there are many steps are there. There are 4 steps involved in this JDBC connection. So these steps are basically so it it includes all the classes and interfaces will be involved there. So you need to import in java.sql package. These classes and interfaces are there. So still I already interface concept. That interfaces are very important concept. And you can see here, it will start here, that one. First, you have to register the driver. That's the first concept. Register means, you have to load the driver, initialize the driver to open a connection channel with the database. That command is, this is the class dot for name method. And here you can give the driver type. So this is for MySQL I have given here, right? You can write a Oracle or any type of driver, you can load it. So com.mysql.jdbc.driver, this is for MySQL driver. This is the parameter you can see here. So this for name is constant, method is constant, okay? The class dot for name means this is the class. In this class, for name is a method. But this is the parameter. It will no change from database to database. So whatever the database you know, you want to connect that database, you load first step, register. Then second step, open the connection. So after the driver registration, so you can get the connection. So use the get connection method from the driver manager class. And then you will give in the get connection method, you have to pass 3 arguments. One is database connection string URL, comma, username, comma, password. These are the 3 parameters you need to pass here. Then if you want to execute the query, so first you need to use the statement object. So on this connection. So that statements you created, then you execute your SQL queries that will return a data from the result set. So there is a result set concept. Once you execute the SQL queries on the statement, you'll get the results. Then you clean up the environment. So these are the steps involved in database connections. So here I have given them, see that detailed for Oracle I provided here. On the top, no, MySQL I provided, whichever you want, you can connect. See here, first register or load the driver, class dot for name method, Oracle dot JDBC dot driver dot Oracle driver. Then connect to the database. So connection interface con equal to driver manager dot get connection method, and that's what I was telling, 3 parameters you need to pass. So the URL is so you will come to know once you install the databases, you will have this URL. So and for Oracle, this is the concept, JDBC colon Oracle colon thin colon @localhost colon so 1521 colon so ORCL. So this is the port, default port for Oracle database, and this is the database name, the default database name. You can, this will change. So while installing, people can give a different port and different database names. Create a statement. So you can create the statement st equal to con dot create statement, con dot create statement. So fetch the results. You want to fetch the results on the 4th step. So on this statement, so st dot execute query, and you write a simple queries, or what are the queries you want execute. So those queries you can pass it here. So basically, these statements are 3 types are there. So 3 types of statements we have. Simple statement, that is this one statement. So this is also an interface, and connection is also an interface. Result set also an interface. These are the 3 interfaces. So in this statement, there is a another 2 more statements are there. Prepared statement and callable statement. These are the 3 types of statements are there. Statement, prepared statement, callable statement. Statement, prepared statement, and callable statement. So and execute query, but that's no let's discuss these three statements. Statement means very simple SQL queries you can write with this statement concept. There is a prepared statement. So you want to supply a dynamic SQL queries, right? That means you need to pass parameters to your SQL query. Then this prepared statement will be helpful. Callable statement. So you want to write a bigger SQL programs. You want to write a very bigger SQL programs. Then you can use callable statement. So this is the main difference between three statements. Prepared statement also help you to handle the SQL injection attacks. Basically what it will happen, any special characters will be automatically escapes. So that prevents SQL injection attacks. So that's the one advantage with this prepared statement. See, in all these four steps, so I was giving here what is the class, which method, and what is the interface you're using. First step, class you're using, and the method is forName method. Second step, driver manager is the class, get connection method, and connection interface. And third step, this one in this create statement step. See, we didn't use any class, and the method is create statement method we are using. So the statement types are anything, either statement, prepared statement, callable statement. Then fourth step, execute query method, and result set interface is there. So these are the interfaces. You can use any one of them. For each step, you have to use these interfaces. See, all these are available in java.sql package. See that. We are importing first. That's the first step I told you. You have to import all the interfaces and classes. Those are available in java.sql package. So complete program I'm giving here, just on the top only steps, right? Now I'm combining all the steps. See that. First, string URL, you're declaring a string URL. So JDBC : Oracle : thin : so local host means, but I'm assuming database is on this host only. That's why we are using. So 1632 is the port, and database name is this one. That's a URL. And I'm going to store username passwords. So using this properties class object. Properties props equal to new properties, and props dot set property user and Scott, props dot set property password tiger. Okay, so these are the different properties. And so try block. See, again, yesterday we discussed, right? Try catch finally. Mandatorily you need to use for the database connection code, because you, as I already mentioned in the finally block, you're going to close the connections, right? So that important code you need to write in the finally block, that closing the database connections. So that's why I'm starting with a try block, and first load the driver class dot for name oracle dot jdbc dot driver dot oracle driver. So this is a driver type for Oracle database. For each database, you have one driver type. Okay, so you don't need to worry about this. This you can get even in the Google also. But nowadays, I think this also not required. Directly, you can start with the second step. So connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection, and the descriptor URL you have to give. So on the top, we already given here. So this you will get when you create the database. It will give you automatically. So in the properties file, you will get this entire URL. So you don't need to worry about that. Okay, so that URL and the properties you can give. So string SQL, so you can, I'm just giving a simple SQL query one. Select sysdate as current day from dual table. So you are getting the system date as current day is the column name from dual table. So this you can write any queries, but this is the one of the query we can use for sample. So next, so you can see this is the connection after. Yeah, I'm using a prepared statement here in the third step. Prepared statement, pre-statement equal to this connection dot. On this connection only, I have to execute this SQL query. Prepared statement, SQL parameter. So this SQL parameter you're passing here. Then fourth step, result set, result equal to pre-statement dot execute query. So it executes. Then you got a data here, and that data you iterate it. So while result dot next method and system dot out dot println, just you can print result dot get string current day. This is the column. So each row it will iterate, and this column data it will print for you. So it will all the columns it will iterate. Okay, so that's the how to do that. So then e dot print stack trace. So see catch block. So the code is ended here. So this connection everything done, and catch block starts here. SQL exception. So e dot print stack trace. Finally, see connection I am closing. Result dot close. Close method you are using inside the finally block. Basically you are closing. So all the things. That's what this program. This is a simple program. So you don't worry about this. All the steps are ready made. You can get anywhere. So I have given some steps also here, how to connect and all those things. So that's the predefined code. You don't need to worry about that. Okay, that I have given here already. It's okay. So you can use, but those 4 steps you remember that. That's very important. Yeah. So any questions here before moving on to the next topic, file handling?
No, Ramesh, we just need to execute it one time. So if we need to connect it into a MySQL database, if we install any like XAMPP or WAMP server, so can we just replace the credentials and will that work?
Yeah, that I don't have. That's why I need to bring it up. I need to start the Docker and all those things. I'm just
Okay.
today I'll bring that skill, and tomorrow I'll show you that. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's again that is a one setup we need to do that. Maybe I'll bring it up for next class, right? So we don't have that. Okay. Maybe next class I'll show you that. So
Okay. Thank you.
yeah. First I'll show you that the connection. Then we'll go for the next topic. Yeah. First let's finish today file handling. File handling. Another important topic. So file handling is basically to handle the data from files. So like you can read the data, you can write the data, 2 categories mainly. So these are the 2 scenarios we have in our automation also. One is writing the data and reading the data. So reading the data from the files, those things. So let's see. So this, if you observe this diagram, see from this file can be any type, a text file, Excel, or a properties file, or any kind of file. So the file is having data. First, your file should have a data to read it to your Java program. See that this data will stream in either byte format or character format in the network stream. So if it has to reach to your Java program, you should have a data in the file, and you give that file path, and from the file you use these classes. So these are the classes are used to read the data. One is file input stream, buffered input stream, reader, file reader, buffer reader, file class. So this is all the classes we are going to use to read the data. So classes doesn't read directly, but you have to create object for all these classes, right? And then there are methods, read method, read line method. So read method will read the byte data, read line will read the entire line of data. So that's this read and read line methods. And basically it is, so I'll show you that file input stream and buffered input stream. The difference is file input stream will read one by one byte data. So in the network, it will go one by one data. That means it's slowly. But when you use a buffered input stream is, you have a large data in the file. You want to increase the large chunk of data you want to read at a time. Then use buffered input stream to this file input stream. Because these are all interrelated. So directly you cannot use buffered input stream or buffer reader. First you have to use file class, you create object. Then with the file class, you will specify the file path where that file is. And the second step, you create object for file input stream. And then you create object for buffered input stream. In the buffered input stream object, you will pass this file input stream object reference. That's why you first create this object, then you can use this. Same here also. File reader object you create, that object reference you have to pass in the buffered reader object. So file reader will read one character at a time. Buffer reader will read large chunk of data at a time. So that's the difference between file input stream, buffered input stream. And this will read the byte data, but this file reader and buffer reader will read the character data. So buffer reader will read the entire line. That's a buffer reader. And so the methods you are going to use is read method, read line method. Read and read line method we are going to use for reading purpose. And the same time, the other type is writing. So you have a data in your Java programs. You want to write it to the file. And you're going to use a file output stream, buffered output stream, and writer abstract class is there. File writer and buffer writer we can use. File writer and buffer writer we can use. So again here you are going to use some methods. So file output stream is, if you are writing the data, byte data, you can use file output stream. So you are writing so large chunk of data, you can use file writer. So one is a byte data, another one is a character data, it will write. Again, there is a methods here, write method, it will write either byte or character data. Flush method and new line method. A flush is very important when you're using a buffered output stream and buffered writer. Because every time the new data you want to get, old data stream should be flushed out. Then you will get a new data. So after writing a write method, you have to call flush method. It's very important. So that is the entire diagram. Let's go and see how you can use this. So you create object for a file class, file f equal to new file. I'll show you this in the code, how to do that. And then file input stream object fs equal to new file input stream and pass this file object. And the buffered input stream, first create object per buffered input stream, bs equal to new buffered input stream fs. You will pass this fs object. So these are all constructors, right? Parameterized constructors. So you're passing this object to next step object as a constructor argument you are passing. And so file reader and buffer reader also same. You can see this file reader class will read a stream of characters, but one by one character it will read. And how to use that? You have to create object file reader fr equal to new file reader file path. And then buffer reader means entire line it will read. So, and file reader fr equal to new file reader and pass the file path. And a buffer reader, so reader object equal to new buffer reader of this file reader object here. So we can read, by default 8192 characters it will read, but you want to reduce the size or you want to give your own size of data it has to read. Then you can use this buffer reader. You can write like this. Two parameterized constructor you can use, but here we are using a single parameterized constructor, right? And you can use here two parameterized constructor. You can mention the buffer size, okay? How many characters you want to read at a time. So that is, if you don't mention 8192 characters, but you want some specific number of characters you want to read, and you can mention this int buffer size equal to 1000. So fr comma buffer size. So buffer reader, so text reader equal to new buffer reader fr comma buffer size. So that is the total code how to write. And for writing, as I mentioned, file output stream. So you create object for file output stream fs equal to new file output stream and pass the which file you want to write, that file location. And buffered output stream. So you create object for buffered output stream, bos equal to new buffered output stream, and this fos object you pass it here. And even file writer, buffer writer also similar. But the methods we are going to use is write method and flush method, new line methods. And here file writer, when you are using, you can append or overwrite the data while writing the data. So for example, if you write like this will overwrite every time. So old data will be gone, only new data will be written if you use like this. So this single parameterized constructor. But if you use like this, new file writer, file path comma append. Append is a Boolean value. If you pass a true, and it will append the data. So every time it will append the data. So that is what this concept, how to append the data. Okay. Now, so by default, it is false will be there here. See here, it is a false. That's why it is going to overwrite. If you use this, it will, if you use explicitly true, if you write, automatically it will append the data. So that is the code for appending. And we'll see that, okay? So let's write the programs so that you will get some idea. And once we join back and we'll write the programs, okay? So it is going to end in 5 minutes, 4 minutes. We'll join back and we'll continue, okay?